shir will be, at least the first part of the shir, maybe the entire shir will be on the sugya of yichud, which is really the previous sheet. But hopefully, time permitting, we'll be able to start the sugya of shlokes, which is sheet number 5. Can't emphasize enough to you, Rabbi said, the importance of sheet number 5 and the sugya of bishul akum. This is really, this is mamish, this is the meat of the sugya. So everybody should be conversant with sheet number 5, even though the majority of the shir will still be on the sugya of yichud, which is an important sugya, especially for those of you who are dating, etc. But even bichlal, it's a very important sugya. So that's what we will do in Mitzvah Hashem tomorrow, yichud and perhaps even shlokis, but should be into sheet number 5. Okay, so Rabbi Isai, for today's Ramban, there are actually 2 Rambans that I'd like to do. I don't think we're going to have time for both. So we'll do the one in Pashas Kaisai, which very, very, very crucial. In fact, it's a very unique shita that the Ramban has. I want to get that in for sure. Time permitting, we'll go back to Bahar. Okay, so the Ramban that we're going to do this morning, Rabbi Isai, is in Perek Chavov, Pasuk Yud Aleph, V'nasati Mishkani B'Soichechem. This is in Parshas B'chukaisai, in the prelude to the Teichacha, which you all know is the terrible curses, but in the prelude to that, the Rebbeinu Shalom tells us what will happen in Mitzvah Hashem if we keep the mitzvahs. Now, we're not starting at the beginning of this Ramban. Again, Perek Chavav, Pasuk Yud Aleph, V'nasati Mishkani B'Soichechem. For those of you who have the Shalvel Ramban, we're going to start from the words V'hinei habrachos ha'elu kifi pshuton im hayos and rabbis klolos. Okay, now it would be very helpful if someone can find that place either in the Ramban al Torah, if you have that edition, or you have the Shalvel Ramban. If you have the Tov Yerushalayim edition, it's on page Shin Pei Tes. So had anybody found it? V'hinei habrachos ha'elu kifi pshuton. Where that is? I'd say it's maybe, I don't know, it's towards the beginning. Anybody find it yet?
I have the Cook one. It's on page Cook Pei Daled.
What?
I have the Cook one.
That's the Shavel one. Okay, it's called the Shavel. Yeah,
it's Cook Pei Daled. It's like near, like there's a star there. It's like in the middle of the page. Middle line.
In the Shavel Moiser of Cook Ramban. Kuf Pei Daled. Got that? Now, does anybody have the Mikros Gedolos edition, and where that is?
Yeah, I have it. Mikros Gedolos. It's Tough Reish Zion, on the second to bottom paragraph from the right.
Okay. Okay, so I think everybody have it. Basically, you can nod your heads. Okay. Now, the brachas that the Torah enumerates in Parshas B'chukaisai, Nasati Gishmechem Be'itom, etc., it'll rain. You're going to go Hisi Daishas Batzir, Batzir, it'll be great. Says the Ramban, V'nei brachas elu kifi pshutan im hayos and rabbis klolios ke'inyan hamotar hasayva v'hashalom u'piri v'rivya einon kamo habrachas shebera kvar b'ktsara. The Ramban says that if you look at these psukim, all these brachas, that there'll be sova, there'll be plenty, there'll be rain, women will be able to have babies, etc., etc. This is speaking on a national level to Klal Yisrael. This is not speaking to individuals. And the Ramban continues, Kamosha Biktsara, Uberak es Lachmacha Vesmemecha Va'asiresi Machalomi Kirbecha. Because in Parshas Mishpatim, the Torah also talks about it'll be very good. But there, the Torah is referring to Yechidim, individuals. Here, in Parshas בחוקותי, the Torah is speaking about a national level, that Eretz Yisrael will have the amount of rain. The Eretz Yisrael, there will be seva. In Eretz Yisrael, there will be women that will be pregnant and won't lose their babies. Says the Ramban that in Parshas Mishpatim, Kisham Yatiach B'machal V'mishta V'shi Yilbrocha Ad Shel Yera Shem Chayla B'Gufeinu V'alkein Yi Klei Hazera Shleimim L'Bri, and people will be able to have children. V'noilad Kahagen V'nichi Yomim Loim K'mo Shenemar Lo Siyeh Mishakilo V'Karka B'Kirbechas Matzvara Mechai Amalei V'chein Omar Ki Ani Hashem Refecha. Now, but here, Parsha B'Chukosai is speaking on a national level. Dr. Hadam was Ki Abrochas Hahem Afal Pi Abrochas Hahem Afal Pi Shehem Nisim Heim Min Anisim Hanistorim. Meaning, in Parshas Mishpatim, when it's speaking about the individual, and it's saying that if you keep the mitzvahs, then it'll all be good. That's a nace. But it's a nace nister. It's a nace nister because you don't see a connection necessarily between a person who's a shomer Torah mitzvahs, that everything is good, and a person who's a rasha, and nevertheless everything is good. It can happen. Because therefore it's a nace nister. It does not mean, Rabbi Isai, that every person that's a shomer Torah mitzvahs, everything will be good for him, because we know, Rabbi Isai, that's not the case. Because they're tzaddik v'ralo v'rosha v'tovlo. But the Torah is telling us that b'derech klal, if a person will keep the mitzvahs, things will be good for him. And that's a nace nister, because al pi teva, there's no difference, there should be no difference whether you put on tefillin in the morning or you don't put on tefillin in the morning. Hey, mihanistim hamistorim shekol hateru molea mehem kasher peirashti. The Ramban says, this is one of the important yesodis of the Ramban, that all our lives are nace nister. Everything is a nace nister. Not obvious, but it's a nace nister. Kamosh kasher peirashti. Vehem afilu liyochid ha'oived. Ki kasher yiyeh ha'ish chosid shomer kol mitzvahs Hashem Elokav yishmerei hakel min hacheli v'ha'akrus v'hashikul v'yamala yoma b'toiva, because that what the pasuk says in Parshas Mishpatim, that you keep the mitzvahs, everything will be good and you'll be healthy, you'll have children. Aval elu ha'bracha shekvar pishu hazay same kloli is ba'om. But Parshas B'Chukosai is speaking on a national level. V'chol kulam tzadikim v'lochen yaskir tamin b'chol b'kan ha'aretz v'nosno ha'aretz levetach ba'artzechem shalom ba'aretz min aretz loisavar ba'artzechem. So that's in between Parshas Mishpatim when it talks about everything will be good, you'll have food, you'll be healthy, etc. And Parshas B'Chukosai, which is speaking on a national level. And the Ramban continues. V'kvar biyarnu, ki elu ha'brochas kulam nisim, which means on a national level, Rabbi Isai, if Klal Yisrael en masse, as a tzibur, keeps the Torah and mitzvahs, and there's enough rain, and there's always enough food, and everybody's happy, and everybody's having babies, that's a nace. Because this should not happen on a national level. It's because you keep the Torah, therefore you're going to go ahead and defeat your enemies? What does keeping the Torah have to do with feeding your enemies? What does keeping the Torah have to go ahead and do with rain? The answer is that this is in fact a nace nigla, because people will wonder, gee, what's with this land of Israel? They have it so good. Why do they have it so good? Well, because they're good Jews. That is obvious. So that's something in Ramban, that's something that people can see. And the Torah says, but if you don't give the Shemitah, then it's going to be horrible. Now, what on earth is keeping Shemitah after with it being horrible? Your sky will be like Barzel. You'll run away from your enemy. What's the connection? The answer is that on a national level, this is in fact a nace, and it's undeniable. On a personal level, this may be true if it's tzaddik v'tovlo, but people won't go ahead and say, "Wow, gee, this guy he's a shemer ter mitzvahs. He must be a tzaddik because they have it so good." No, it doesn't work like that. On a national level, when this happens, that the entire country is blessed, then people take heed and say, "Hey, what's that about?" Continues the Ramban. Says the Ramban. If this happens constantly, people have to take notice. On an individual level, that this guy has it good, he's healthy, he has great children, he has parnasa, you don't go ahead and say, "Oh, must be because he's a tzaddik." Because as the Ramban says, ki yikra ze gam b'rishoyim. Because we find Rosh V'Toivloi. So on an individual basis, there's nothing astounding by the fact that a person who keeps the Shemitah Torah mitzvahs, everything is good. Because this happens sometimes Rosh V'Toivloi. Avo! Shetir ba'oretz achas kuloi va'amecha tamid birchas hageshem be'itoi. But for an entire country, that they always have enough rain, they always have enough crop, v'soiva, v'shalva, ubrius, and peace, and serenity, and health, v'gvura, v'shivan ha'oivim, and defeating of their enemies, b'inyan she'en kamo b'chol ha'olam. You know, the United States of America, Rabbi say, at least up until, up at least until 2020, in this pandemic, you know, United States of America, God shed His grace on thee, right? From sea to shining sea, you know, with amber waves of grain, right? Purple mountains majesty. You want me to start singing? Don't you? You don't want me to singing, right?
Yes, Rabbi, we do.
But nevertheless, there are parts of the country that have drought. There are parts of the country that have too much rain. There are hurricanes, there are tornadoes, etc., etc. Even in this, God shed His grace on the America. But it's not always good. It's not good all over the entire country. But that an entire country should have the Ramban writes over here, everything. Soiva, Shalva, Brius, Shivan Oivim. Yivada Lakail, pass the Ramban back inside. Kimeis Hashem Hoisosais. Then people will come to the conclusion, Kimeis Hashem Hoisosais. Valkain Omar, V'ro kol amei ha'aretz kishem Hashem nikro lecha v'yoru mimeka. That's on a national level. Behefech zeyi beklolis ba'oinish ha'aretz shenemar v'sati eshmechem kard barzel v'onshe ha'chayli k'mo shenemar v'cholim roim v'nemonim. And when we don't do this, especially when we don't keep the Shemitah, then all these terrible things happens. Shekalal hamachol v'hamishta v'yachli haguf v'yisparsim hanes v'yoshet tamid kach kayim b'kulam. Al Kain, Kosuv, V'omar Hadar Achron B'nechem Asher Yakum Acharechem V'anachri Asher Yavo Meretz V'chayka. In Parshas Nitzavim, when Klal Yisrael, the Klal says, if you don't keep the Torah, then it's going to be terrible. And then the pasuk says that your generation will ask, and the goyim will ask, "V'ro es kol machatz artahi v'estachluel shlo yitamu beish ahu asher rotza v'kol ha'olah ki ken yeh pomim rabbis kimin hago shalolam v'chalu mashiho mikayet mikrim roim beish echad." People don't ask a kasha when this happens to an individual, but when this happens to an entire nation, then Kikain Yipomir, he says, Rabbi said, Rak Ba'oretz Hahi Yitmu. If they don't keep the Shemitah, they don't keep the mitzvahs, or they don't keep the morality, or they don't keep arayas, and the country is devastated, plague after plague, then people ask, V'yishalu kol hagoyim amos Hashem kochel ha'aretz hazayis. Ki kulam yiru v'yedu ki yad Hashem osas azais v'yayru al asher ozu as bris elokei avesam. So the Ramban over here is making the distinction, and we're not finished, Rabbi Yisai. The main part is still to come. Then on an individual level, people can't conclude that if you keep the mitzvahs, it'll be good, and if you do averos, it'll be bad. Because this is part of the way that God set up the world. There's something called Tzaddik V'Ra'ala V'Rasha V'Toivla. And not every Tzaddik Rabbi Yisai that we know always has it good, and not every Rasha that we know has it bad. Therefore, people cannot conclude that this is the Yad Hashem. But on a national level, when as a nation we keep the mitzvahs, etc., and it's great all the time, and when we don't keep it, it's terrible. That people would say, hey, guess what? Yad Hashem haisazais, Meis Hashem haisazais.
Rabbi.
Yes.
We know that in the Gemara Brachos it says that when a goy sees a Jew with a tefillin, and he's having the right kavanos and everything, then he's yorem imenu. He has a fear of him because of the pasuk that says, "V'ro kol amei haaretz ki Shem Hashem nikra alecha." So it's interesting that the Ramban is also saying that pasuk plays also on a national level.
That is correct. That's true. That's true. Now
it's saying that it applies both to an individual and also to a cloud.
Correct. By tefillin, yeah. But that Gemara is speaking about tefillin.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, now here, Rabbi said, pay very good attention. The Ramban is going to say a Moiradik Chiddush over here. Vaklau. Bottom line. Ki be'ez Yisrael shleimim v'hem rabim. When Klal Yisrael is shleimim, lo yisna yinan b'teva klal. On a national level, when we do what we're supposed to do, God is not going to deal with us b'derech hateva. Lo begufim v'lo ba'artzim. Lo b'chlolim v'lo b'yochimhem. Ki yivorech Hashem lachmam u'meimam v'yosem machla b'kirbam ad shlo yistarchu lo roifei v'lo yishtamer b'derech midarech harfuas klal. If on a national level everybody is keeping the Torah, no one will ever be sick. Can you imagine that? And the Ramban says over here, Lo yitztarch midarech is klal k'mo she'omar ki ani Hashem roifecha. Because when we, on a national level, will keep all of the mitzvahs, etc., no one will ever be sick. You know why? Ki ani Hashem roifecha. V'chein, now here is a big chiddush, Rabbi Yisai. V'chein hayu tzadikim aisin bisman nevuah. And when in bisman nevuah, that's how people acted. Ki gam yikreim oven sheyechlu. So when a person, for instance, has a machla, when he does an aveira and he has a machla, Lo yidrushu b'reifim rak b'neviim. At this utopian time, Rabbi Isa, when Klal Yisrael en masse was keeping the mitzvahs, when a person would get sick, he wouldn't go to the doctor, he'd go to the Navi. Ke'inyan Chizkiya b'chol yoy. When Melech Chizkiya Mel HaMelech was sick, he went to Yeshaya. He said, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? V'omer HaKosim, on the other hand, Gam b'cholya by Asa Melech Yehuda. B'cholya l'doresh Hashem. Kiyim b'reifim. Lord Ashma Kiyim b'reifim. He, again, where did he go? He went to the, he went, Asa went to the doctors. V'ilu ha'ya dvar ha'reifim no'im bohem. Ma tam she'yaskur ha'reifim. The Torah calls him on the carpet. He didn't go to the Navi, he went to the doctor. What do you mean you're supposed to go to the doctor? The Torah says no. In this utopian time, this perfect time, you didn't go to the doctor. You were sick, that means you did something wrong. What was that? You did an Avera. So who do you go to? Ein matar sheyakar ein oshem akmuv shlo yidoras b'Hashem. Aval hu kasher. But what the way it was then, Aval hu kasher yoymar adam loyochal pleni matzah b'chag ha'matzahs became chametz. You know what you did wrong? You ate chametz. Therefore you're sick. Aval ha'deresh b'navi, ha'deresh Hashem b'navi, lo yirish b'reifim. And here, Rabbi Isai, are the most astounding words of this Ramban. Underline this in bright yellow. Machelik l'reifim b'veis eisei ritzayin Hashem. What on earth is a doctor doing in the home of a Yirei Shammai? Those are the words of the Ramban. Those are famous words, Rabbi say, as we'll soon see. Machelik l'roifim b'veis oisei ritzayin Hashem. Achar shehivtiach u'beirachas lachem v'esmenech v'atzirit tzimachal b'yirecha. So, does that mean, Rabbi Isai, any of you who are going to pre-med, any of you there are pre-med, what are you doing? Stop. You're not going to have any job. Because Mitzvah Mashiach, Mitzvah Hashem, everybody, Mr. Lerner, I see you're over there. You're going to pre-med. Stop. Stop in your tracks. Because what is the doctor going to do? Zokter Ramban, oh, there'll still be place for you. Doctors only tell you what to eat and what not to eat. But they won't cure you. Because Ki Ani Hashem Refecha. And those famous words, Ma l'roife beveis oisei ritzayin Hashem. That's the Ramban Shita. V'kach omru, and this is what the Gemara says in Huriyas, Kol Esim Tarkin Shana de Malach Rabbah. That the 22 years that Rabbah was the Rosh Hashiva, Rav Yosef Afilu Una Lebeisei Leikara. A doctor never came to Rav Yosef's house. V'hamashal lohem shir ashir tara dolei pasach lemitzvasa pasach la'asya, and only if you go ahead and you don't open your doors to aniyim, then you're going to have to open your to doctors. V'hu omra mamoram shim im ein darkness shalodim b'nei odem b'refuais ela shenagu. So the Ramban says the Pshat in the Gemara in Brachos that says ein darkness shalodim b'refuais. People shouldn't have gone to doctors. Ela shenagu, but that became the minig. She'ilu lo haya darken b'refuais yechol adam kifi asher yechol ha'inish chet Hashem b'yavi b'ratzon Hashem. Truth be told, the way it should be is if you're sick, you go to the Navi. Aval heim no b'refuais. But people said, no, let's go to the doctor. V'Hashem hi nicham l'mikri atvovim. You want to go to the doctor? Gesundheit. That's what the pasuk means. Varapa Yerape, the famous pasuk that says, you want to go to the doctors? You have the right. You can practice medicine. You can't say, doctor, you come to a doctor, the doctor's allowed to heal you. You're the person that's not doing right. You're the sick person. You should go to the Navi. But Alkain, skip a few words. Alkain, ha'anoshim, hanitzim. Okay, that's already not Nagea. Rabbi say, this is the incredible, fantastic Shita of the Ramban. That Ramban says that, truth be told, there should be no needs for doctors. Now, as I mentioned, Rabbi Say, this happens to be a tremendous, tremendous machlokes harishonim. And don't anybody leave this year at this point. Because in terms of halacha l'maisa, the Ramban seems to be a das yochid bozeh. And this is not standard operating procedure. L'maisa, halacha l'maisa. Let me read to you, first of all, a Rajba. Now, Rabbi Say, for those of you who have been in the Shir, you know that the Rajba was a Talmud of the Ramban. So this is the Ramban's own Talmud, the Rajba. And the Rajba writes, in the Tshuvas HaRajba, Chelek Aleph Siman Tov Yud Gimel, the Rajba writes, V'himchal hamikrev k'choyle mutter l'sasik b'refuas u'vavad she'yidu b'al shemayim v'yedu she'amitas ha'refuah mimenu v'yid b'shenu. You're supposed to go to the doctor. But you should know that when you go to the doctor, it's from the Rebbeinu Shalom that's healing you. When a person goes in for lo aleinu open heart surgery, and he has, the best cardiac thoracic surgeon that there is, and he say, "Oh, I have the best surgeon. I'm going to be all right." That is hashkafically incorrect according to everybody. But that you're supposed to go to the surgeon? Absolutely. And don't think that it's this medicine or this doctor. That was wrong with Asa. The raya that the Ramban brings from Asa HaMelech, that the pasuk indicts him and says, what it's saying, says the Ramban, or the Rajba rather, is that he put his full faith in the Raife. Zok the Rajba, Maskana. A person who's sick, for us to do this is to be seimech on a nes, which we're not allowed to do. Ulasasik bidvorm hamoilan, bein bidvorm hativim, bein beskulas, v'hu amru rapay yerape, v'amru azal mikan shenitan reshus l'reifi l'rapes, v'amram nitn reshus l'mer she'ein ze hefach ma shesira ter bashkacha, u'keneged ze nichnas kol darche rafules. It says the Rajba weiter. Umuter liftayach ba'adam v'hush lo yel yoser libay min Hashem. You can't trust a doctor, but know that he's a shliach. V'omer or hagever asher yiftach ba'adam u'me Hashem yoser libay. Ach liftayach ba'Hashem v'sheis le'tshu ayidei ho'ish ha'pleini mitzvah umuter. Rabbi Isai, that was the Rajba. The Rajba lived in the 1200s, maybe even in the 1300s.
We can't we say that the Ramban?
Moshe, I'm not finished with.
Oh, okay.
The Bach Rabbi Isai. The Bach Rabbi Isai lived after the Ramah. The Bach lived in the 15 and 1600s. He actually, from 1561 to 1640. Nohov b'chol gvul Yisrael, who made Habach, shekvar b'yomav haya kain, yish'odam nilka b'chayli kolshu ha'olchin l'roifei mumchim b'chachmas ha'rafua shu chelik b'chachmas ha'teva, v'yisin al pi divrayim. The Bach wrote 500 years ago. So today we go to doctors, we don't go to the Navi because there is no Navi. And Isaiah talks to Taz in Yeridea. And Taz writes in Yeridea, the Taz was the son-in-law of the Bach, which is a generation later. That which the Gemara says that Yerotzen, a person goes to the bloodletter. He says Yerotzen Sheyiyas El Refuah. The Taz writes and he says Tahanu Shemisnapsa Lama Vavakesh Ruas Hashem Haikosa. So he says Min Aroi Lasas Kain Lavakesh Rachamim Linopsai De Rachamim Mikomo Chomeacheshek Farnog Ulasis Refuah Aide Teva Gamani Eisekain Valkoponim Aminede Shakol Ba Ayadecha. Bottom line, Rabbi Isai, is that the bottom line, Rabbi Isai, is that the Chidah, the Birka Yosef, Rabbeinu Yosef Chaim David Azulai, in Yeridea writes and he says, V'nira the ha'idnayin lismech halanes v'chayev ha'chayev ha'chayla li'isnaig b'derech ha'olam likreis reifei sheyarpenu v'lav kol kemine l'shanei sugin da'alma v'loimer ki hu godol mikama chasidei ha'deresh nisrapu al yedei reifim. I cannot say that I'm in a higher madrega than kamatz hadikseis ha'deresh that already went to doctors. Ukimat iser yesh b'dover. Imishum yuara, because it's like a gaiva. The imishum lismach hanisa b'makom sakana ulahaskir avaynais b'shas cholya. So I've always been troubled by this Ramban, whether the Ramban would have said the same thing for our day and age. Now listen, the Ramban was speaking in the 1200s, and the Ramban himself was a doctor. The Rambam was a doctor. So I don't know if the Ramban is speaking just theoretically, if when there was such a time. I think what the Ramban, I don't think what the Ramban is saying is that's the way it should be in a perfect time. But we don't live anymore in a perfect time. Now, here's a very interesting machlekes, Rabbi Isai. Very interesting machlekes. Okay, you're supposed to go to the doctor. Okay? Do you have to get the best doctor in the world? Meaning, we say, okay, you're supposed to go to doctors. Okay, fine. Muskim. That's the way halach l'maisa. You're supposed to go to doctors. But you have to go ahead and try to get the best doctor in the world? Or, Rabbi Isai, does this work with the normal gedorim of hishtadlus? Read it as follows. This is an old shaila, Rabbi Isai. Should you try to go to Yale Law School? Or is the University of Maryland Law School good enough? So this is an old shaila, Rabbi Isai. So the Chovis Halvavis says that a person has to make a legitimate hishtadlus and a normal hishtadlus, but a person doesn't have to go overboard. And if the Rebbe wants to give you parnasa, he'll give you parnasa whether you went to Yale or whether you went to Maryland. Now, does that mean you have to go to some podunk law school in Pocatello, Idaho, that people will look at your law degree and say, hey, whoever heard of that law school? Maybe that's not a legitimate law hishtadlus. But if a person makes a hishtadlus, he goes to an accepted, well-respected law school. So in terms of chayvus hishtadlus, it's maspik. Now the question Rabbi say is, what does that mean when it comes to doctors? Now there is a hanhaga Rabbi say among frum people. Got to get the top guy. Top guy, top guy, top guy. This is a top guy. Always the top guy. You have to do that. So one could say, make the same argument and say that, you get a guy, he's a competent doctor, has a good reputation. It's not a guy that went ahead and just graduated medical school. So is that the same thing? So the truth of the matter is, there are some that say that there's a difference between refuah and parnasa. When it comes to parnasa, that's when a person say this is a legitimate hishtadlus, I don't have to do more. When it comes to refuah, where there's a mitzvah to go ahead, v'rape yirape, there it could be that a person is allowed to do more than a normal hishtadlus, because at least you're being Isaac in a mitzvah. So that's a solve shaila.
There's also a sakana though.
What's that?
By refuah, there's many cases where people are going to the top is because it's surgeries which are a sakana if you don't get someone who's really good.
Yeah, well, so again, this is a very, very subjective case. I know someone of a family, actually used a Talmud of mine many years ago. His child, this is a child, it wasn't a baby, maybe it was still a baby, but certainly a child, had to have a kidney transplant. Okay? Now, kidney transplants are a common operation, but not pediatric kidney transplants. So in Maryland, this was a guy who lived in Baltimore. In Maryland, Hopkins, I think, did 10 of these a year. And the University of Minnesota, they did over 100 a year. So there, they went to Minnesota simply because, you get better at these things. So there, but on the other hand, we're talking about, and sometimes, person Rahman al-Islam has cancer. Lo yolenu. Should he go to Sloan Kettering? Or should he go to some local regional hospital? That Rabbi say a very, very serious child. Because they're called the best. On the other hand, there's a certain protocol. They can do it here, they can do it there. So I'm not going to answer that child because I don't know the answer to that child. I'm just being ma'ir. But what I am trying to point out, Rabbi Isai, is the two things that we learned from this Ramban today. That what happens on an individual level is also a nes nister. But people won't draw conclusions. The fact that a person's a shemer mitzvah, that everything's going good for him, it's because he's a from a yid. Because that's not necessarily always the case. There's tzaddik v'raloi, there's rosh v'toivloi. But what Parshas B'chukotai is talking about, Parshas B'chukotai is talking about that you have an entire nation that runs shaloi kederach hateva, that they always have rain and they always have peace and they always have that people will come to the conclusion it's because they're keeping the Torah. But when people didn't keep the mitzvahs, like Shemitah, this and that, and then all of a sudden everything goes south and it's terrible, then the reaction is Al Asher Azuas Hashem Elokei Avosam. And the Ramban compares from this goes into the sugya of doctors and says that Bisman Shashanim Kisikton, then Enochinami Malash Mala Reife Beves Eiser Hashem. So we did not get Rabbi Sai to the Ramban in Parshas Bahar, which maybe next week we will say, because Bamidbar is I don't think there's as many Rambans, but I wanted to get this famous Ramban in Parshas בחוקותי. As I mentioned at the beginning of this year, tomorrow's shir, at least the first part of the shir, will be on the sugya of Yichud, and as to the hopefully I'll be able to start already to get into Shlokas, but the majority of this week is going to be the sugya of Shlokas, Bishalakum, which you have to get good, as this Rabbi says, one of the main chalakim of Lima that we're learning now. So with that, I wish everybody a good day, and
So are we gonna